a setup here where I can take old VHS movies and I put this card table here and put the tripod right there and get it positioned where the camera is perfect, same size as the TV screen. And then I shoot movies onto this and put it on the Babe Bentley Stories. And my daughter had a tape that she wanted to send to Jaden. Jaden's back in Tennessee. And so after I'll do this DVD here, this video, and then I'll put that one on there. And also there was a short burst first of a birthday party. Everybody saying happy birthday to the grandpas. Grandpa Bam Bam was 80th birthday and he was out of town, and they went around to everybody's house saying happy birthday. And she wanted her and Jivan and Jim sang a song up there in Campo, and they wanted me to put it on the Babe Bentley Stories and then let Jaden know it was on there so he could watch it. And meanwhile, I found this one here called Lens Cap when Gitante was exactly 1 year old. We got to fooling around with the camera, and it's just hilarious. If you ever, humor is good for the soul, so you just watch it over and over again. It'll probably take me, gotta hold them down 7, 8, 10 minutes, 13, whatever. And I'm not sure how long it lasted, but laughed and went on for a long time. But and I have another tape that when I sat my dad down in front of a camera and I got his whole life story on a VHS. And so that's what this Babe Bentley Stories will, in bits, pieces here and there and everywhere, it will have my entire life story. And so I'd like to tell you right now, I was like I remember my brother calling me a daredevil. And I mentioned that the authority we had with kids, we respected everything. So in the first and second grade, we had this little sandbox that's down at that end of the school, down at the south end of the school. And the only thing daring about it is they had this pepper tree, and I would climb the pepper tree and see how high I could go up and jump. And it got to the point where the highest limb I could get to, the sand wasn't deep enough, so I made me a big mountain. Then I climbed up and jumped in it. So, it was always seeing how far you can go. And then in the, first and second grade, had to play in this sandbox, and I don't know how it worked, but finally you got to where you could play in the mid-sized sandbox. And then over away from that was the big kids sandbox. But there was a set of bars that went like this, and like this. And this one, being a kid, I had to kind of jump up to hold it in my waist and do the things. And the most daring thing that any of the kids could do would be to sit on the bar, the high one, and fall back over, catch yourself by your knees, and swing a little bit, and then let go and land on the ground. And sometimes I got to where I could just fall over backwards, catch my knees, and then let go and drop. I didn't have to get my momentum up to kick myself up far enough to drop and land on my feet. So I decided I wanted to be able to do it without hands, just fall over backwards. So I went down to the little one and I pushed the sand over and I made a big mound, and I put my jacket off and put it on there because it wouldn't get sand in my hair. And so I'd sit in it, I'd fall over backwards and land my head on that pile of sand, and then I'd go to the next one up, and I fell over backwards and I'd land on my hands and knees, and then I went to the higher one, and the higher one wasn't something I could jump up and grab. I had to jump up and grab the middle one, get up on it, you know, and then each one is this much higher than the other. So I'd get on the middle one, is just how tall it was, and then climb over and sit in the middle of the long one, or the highest one, and then I could flip back over backwards and land on my feet. And got to doing it where I could do it real easy. And then over in the big kid sandbox, I don't know if I had to wait a year or whatever, but anyway, when I got over to that sandbox, they had this real tall one. It came up like this. And in other words, it had a real tall one, and then two side ones. And I couldn't jump up and grab the small one. I had to shimmy up and grab it, and then stand on it, and shimmy up that, and then to get on the real tall one. And so I went over there and I practiced on the low ones, and then I went over and I could do it on the big high one. So you know, it's probably 3 or 4 times my height I'm up there. And then I got to where, you know, you got to keep doing it a little more and more and more. Scary and scary. I got to this deal. I remember that there was a softball game going on with the college people. With the baseball field was right there, the diamond, and first base was right over there. And I don't want to think of myself as a show off, but then this was showing off. I got up there, and I pulled out sat up there all myself, and I pulled out a handkerchief, and I blindfolded myself, and I pretended like I tied my feet, and I put my hands behind my back, so I'm sitting up there on that high bar, my hands behind my back, and my feet together, and I'm blindfolded, and then whoosh, back over I go, and land on my feet just perfect, and stand up, and then untie the thing. And I remember this one guy saying, "Hey, do that again." He got his friends over there. So I went up and did it. And here I am thinking I invented this thing. And the other guy says, "Oh, that's the dead man's drop." And so here it is in the college stage or whatever. They've already been doing it, and they call it the dead man's drop, but they didn't have the, you know, tie the hands behind the back and the band in the underarm, but they were doing that. So, and there's other things that we could do in that big sandbox, but I don't have time to go in that now. So I'm gonna stop this video, and then I'm gonna do the lens cap of me and my granddaughter when she was 1 year old. And that's funny, real funny. So see you then. Bye.